minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. Minus 5 minutes. Stand by.
How about that?
Happy Wednesday, everybody. We got a very big surprise for you. You get, well, two of them, actually. You're going to see one in seconds. And the second I'll tell you about in a little bit. It's going to make you sweat it out a little bit. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. RP's solo in hour one. Hello. The Larry King of Sports Talk. Hello. And, yeah, so a lot of you said, that's the first surprise. Right out of the bag. We are on the radio, so they're like, what the hell is he talking about down there? This is on WQVC. I found me some Raiders gear. I knew that I would. I knew that the Ultimate Fan Zone would not let me down. Got my Raiders gear. Am I a full-on Las Vegas Raiders fan? Not yet, but just bear with me. I'm telling you, Ultimate Fan Zone never lets me down. Scruffy does, though. Wasn't that something? I'm still laughing about that yesterday when I said there's no stores in Florida that you can walk into and buy gear from any team and all the major sports. What are you talking about? There was in the 80s when I was there. Did you catch that yet? Do I even need to say? That was 40 years ago, Mitch. Times have changed a little bit. But I always say here in Moose Jaw, it's still 1985, and that is a good thing, and that's Ultimate Fan Zone. So anyways, let's get her going. Hello, BW checks, and he says, good morning from Christina Lake, Alberta. Vancouver, Eric is here. Carlos from Indiana. The gang's all here. It's just me solo in hour one, and so this opening segment goes by real fast. So the first surprise is my Las Vegas Raiders gear. It fits clearly the motif of the Golden Ticket Sports Center. The other thing is this. Eric from Virginia checking in. What up? He says, pivotal game 3 of the series of the Nats versus the Jays. I got you. 11:05 first pitch Mountain Time. Thanks for choosing us today when there's day baseball. The guest is this. Why am I rushing? Because I've got an hour and 20 minutes before Adam Bighill joins us, NFL, CFL alum. Biggie's going to be with us. So let's just ease into this thing. Point one is training camps are open in the NFL. We will get to the CFL shortly. This is just a real quick opening segment here in the warm-up brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel. And Neil Chark at Uniglobe Carefree Travel in Vancouver lined up the interview today with Adam Bighill. So thank you, Neil Chark. He spent 2017 with the New Orleans Saints in the National Football League. Adam Bighill is a guy, and for our longtime viewers here, which are largely CFL fans, the name needs no introduction. But then, of course, when you say that, you always introduce him. Adam Bighill from Montesano, Washington, played at Central Washington. And here's the thing. I like to get you thinking, as you know. A lot of people don't like to think, and that's why they don't, some people don't like me. I like to make you think. Adam Bighill has a Hall of Fame career from 2 stops. He's like the Wally Buono of playing. He's like the Roberto Luongo of the CFL. Roberto Luongo is the franchise wins leader in both by a goalie in both Vancouver and Florida. Wally Buono had a Hall of Fame career with the Calgary Stampeders, then gets fired inexplicably and goes to BC and has a Hall of Fame career there, winning 2 Grey Cups. Adam Bighill, Hall of Fame career with the BC Lions, goes to the NFL, comes back, Hall of Fame career with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So this was kind of what spawned the discussion yesterday, and I have a little more time to get into it now without Scruffy sucking up all the air out of the room. And that is the history of the game. I was thinking about the 2011 BC Lions and how they started 0-5. And I'm like, let me get some of these old guys. I'm not, because I was thinking we have a lot of great Rider alum on the air recently. Most recently, Jorgen Hughes. And obviously, Charleston Hughes and G. Roy Simon played here and other places too. But I'm like, let's branch out to other teams. And I got thinking about that 2011 team. And I'm like, I don't have Travis Lulay's contact info, even though he's been on this show back in another life. Reached out to the BC Lions. Shout out Matt Baker. Boom, here you go. In seconds. So I get a text. I text Travis Lulay. And I'm like, Travis, it's Rod Pedersen in Canada. would you be interested in coming on and talking about the remarkable story of the 2011 BC Lions? It's a Netflix series, really. And he said that he's on a family trip. This is Travis Lulay, and this is why what more needs to be said? Kids, gather around. You hardcore BC Lions fans, correct me if I'm wrong. It was one big award that Travis won. I want to say it was the MVP, the 2011 Grey Cup. He got a check for $10,000, turned around, donated to an abused women's shelter in Vancouver. When's the last time, after or before, you heard a story like that? So anyways, I haven't talked to Travis Lulay in like a decade. And we're texting back and forth like it's old times. He's like, Rod, I'm on a family trip. I can't get on this week, but get me on in the weeks ahead. And then he said, and by the way, at 1-5, I feel like the Lions are in prime Grey Cup position. Right? That's just Travis Lulay. He's the best. History can't forget these guys. And then Adam Bighill just kind of shimmied in there because he was on that 2011 team too. So he'll come on and tell the story, and we have the makings of a wonderful Netflix series here. Which, by the way, we finished up the Hulk Hogan documentary last night. Have you all watched it? It's amazing. Now, we're only down to about 90 seconds left in this segment, and I will get to the questions and comments from the viewers in a second. The big story is NFL training camps opening. Talked with Moose yesterday or Monday, I guess. Where are you getting your news? We're seeing that Kirk Cousins was named the starting quarterback going into camp by Clint Kubiak, the head coach of the Vegas Raiders. That shouldn't surprise anybody. But for those that said expectations are off the charts for the Raiders and Fernando Mendoza, the rookie number 1 overall pick, does this temper the expectations at all? Because we all knew this was coming. Tua's hurt in Atlanta. Who also didn't see that coming? So they're bringing in Cooper Rush because Michael Penix is hurt too. I want to address all those things. And I was saying, I don't need to know what goes into the hot dog. I don't need to know what's under the rug. Like, I'm just going to read the team sites. And in Dallas, what's the story? A lot of pressure on the Cowboys. Thanks, Tibbs. And no contract squabbles going into training camp. So that's nice. How much time's left, Corey, in this opening segment, if you don't mind? Okay, so we're just getting rolled. So where are you getting your NFL training camp news? What are the stories coming out of your teams? Because this ain't the NFL Network here right now. I just brushed on 3, Las Vegas, Atlanta, Dallas. But there are 29 other teams. So what's going on there? We've got the Game of the Week poll, which we do every Wednesday in the summer. What's Canada's Game of the Week in the Canadian Football League? And you would think it's a runaway easy one, but maybe it's not. So we'll look at all the games across the Canadian Football League. We'll be right back. It's the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show, as you know, and it's the opening segment for our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Just do me a favor. Check out their cruise, departing February 20th out of the port of Fort Lauderdale, CFL Players Association, cruise of a lifetime. Contact Neil. Contact info is on the screen, Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. Just our sponsors keep us on the air. That's not what happened in those all-sports radio stations that went under, so don't let us go under. Support our sponsors, please, like Western Dodge. From trucks to SUVs, Western Dodge has what you're looking for. Visit their showroom or online at westerndodge.ca. And while we're at it, the Mad Greek Eatery, I was there for supper last night with a cowboy friend of mine, Taylor. Whether it's pizza, ribs, or authentic Greek favorites, make it the Mad Greek Eatery. Today, tonight, open until 11 p.m. Order online, pick up, or dine in at themadgreekeatery.com. So he's a cowboy. And he's like big time. I said, why aren't you wearing your cowboy hat tonight? He goes, laundry day. That's what he said. Just so you know, there are people like this. We were talking about the Rough Riders, and I said they were the defending Grey Cup champions. Wonder if they'll repeat. He's like, they won the Grey Cup last year? He's from here. Born and bred, but cowboy. Riders won the Grey Cup? Somehow that got past me. These people do exist. I was asking, okay, let's go to the streets, the viewers here. And I love that we have all these new viewers and some older ones too. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, great hoodie, Rod. I have about 5, most of which I got at the old Oakland Alameda Coliseum. I walked into the Raiders store on South Las Vegas Boulevard, right near South Point Plaza, before the Raiders even showed up, and it was this whole array of Raider gear, and I'm like, dang, I wish I cheered for them. Conversely, I walked into the Cowboys store at AT&T Stadium, back when it was called Cowboys Stadium, and I'm like, there's not one thing here I want. I think I bought one thing, but I like the Raider stuff more. How about that? Scott in Vancouver writes in regarding our Hour 2 guest. He goes, I have about 3 questions for Adam Bighill. Likely need to narrow it down. I'll give you one. I'll give you one question for Adam Bighill, okay? That's coming up in Hour 2. John says, Rod got some black and silver gear. Raiders. Ryan in upstate New York writes, he says, G'day, Rod Squad. I hope everyone's enjoying their Wednesday. Well, that'll be up to us. Well, I'm having a great day. Eric in Virginia, hello. He says, I've always liked Kirk Cousins. Good dude. I think we all felt like he was a great guy even before we watched the quarterback series on Netflix. Now we really know that he's a great guy. Just so you know, John Ohm, same guy from Winnipeg, says, what's new with Green Bay? I don't know, bro. That's what I'm asking the fans. I do not have the time nor the interest to go and see what's up in all 32 training camps. That's not what I'm going to do here. So I told you, I'm going to skim around on the highlights. Kirk Cousins is taking number 1 reps in Vegas. The Cowboys are saying there's a lot of pressure on them. You want to talk about a broken record? In Atlanta, Tua is hurt. That's what I saw this. I don't know what's going on. You tell me if that's your team. That's what I'm saying. What's going on in your camps? Oh, I did see this. Jason in Red Deer says, Aaron Rodgers has said there is zero debate. The 2026 season will be his last. I did see that out of Pittsburgh, and he blamed his wife, which 2 things. Number 1, I didn't even know he's married. Number 2, he's using the Mike Babcock handbook. Yeah, my wife said it's time to get out of Columbus. I mean, we've been here a month, Babs. Carlos in Indiana writes in and says, Daniel Jones has a full practice after tearing his Achilles back in December and bringing in Old Man Rivers. Murph was very good with that yesterday when we talked about NFL storylines, and he said, what's going to happen in Indy with a healthy Indiana Jones? Murph, he's awesome, right? He can talk on a variety of all these things. Yes. Doug writes in, our guy Doug Campbell from Creator Raid. He says, TB12 influencing the right decisions in Vegas. And Vancouver Eric says, just win, baby. Al Davis. I think it's going to be not hard for me to transition over into being a Raiders fan. For whatever reason, you tell me. They've sucked forever, yet they're always on in prime time. Were we not all watching the game last year? Was it last? Yeah, was it last year or 2 years ago when they showed Tom Brady in the coach's box? In the press box? Not broadcasting the game with a coach's headset on with all the Raiders coaches. And he saw the camera was on him and he did it. We see you, Tom. Nobody's surprised that you're influencing stuff in Las Vegas. The question isn't how much influence will Tom Brady have. The question is how long before he turns that franchise into a winner. And I appreciate you, Doug, bringing that up because nobody's talking about Tom Brady at all, which clearly is exactly the way that he likes it. Ha, ha, ha. Ken in Mississauga, Ontario writes in. He says, did you ever hear Larry King when he was on the radio? You sound just like him when he took calls. I never heard him on the radio, but I watched him on television all the time. I'm fascinated by this guy who was married 8 times to 7 different women. Larry King, hello. Did you know his first radio job was in South Beach, Florida, and he was the color commentator of the Miami Dolphins in 1971 and 72. Larry King, hello. And as I guess you weren't watching, Ken, which you always watch. I don't know how this got by you, but I was watching in the Hulk Hogan documentary. Hulk Hogan was on Larry King with Larry King and Kermit the Frog. The 3 of them together. There's a joke there. Larry King, Hulk Hogan, and Kermit the Frog walk into a bar. No, they're on primetime television on CNN. That actually happened. Okay. Utah Darren writes in, he says, the Raiders made a great move in naming Cousins the starter from the get-go. Takes pressure off Mendoza. I feel like we're in the Vegas hour here, but that's totally fine. It's all good. Hang on, John, thank you for this question. I'll get to that. But Mike Davis, I hope you all really do relish, like I do, his appearances every Friday. Longtime friend of mine, coach and general manager of the Vegas Nighthawks. He said weeks before the Raiders signed Kirk Cousins that it was going to happen because he's in the market and he's a football guy and he knew. And then after they did, and we all knew that they were going to take Fernando Mendoza number 1, Mike is saying, he was saying first, I mean, Stevie Wonder could see that this wise decisions to start Kirk Cousins. But Mike doesn't even think Mendoza will get a snap all year. Just remember Mike said that. In the event Cousins stays healthy and the Raiders actually win some games. I don't think that's going to happen, but for their sake, I hope that it does. John in Winnipeg, hello. He says, Rod, you will know this question. When was the last time your Dallas Cowboys won the Super Bowl? Here's the thing about why I'm not moving off my Cowboys fandom. I'm just adding a team. Does that serve? When I was reading DallasCowboys.com today, Dak showed up for training camp wearing a T-shirt that said Super Bowl XXX, Super Bowl 30. Last Super Bowl the Cowboys played in, last Super Bowl the Cowboys won, 1995 with Barry Switzer as the head coach. I know everything there is to know about the Dallas Cowboys. It's just, there's nothing interesting about them right now. And there's a hell of a lot interesting about the Las Vegas Raiders. And with us airing in prime time every night in Las Vegas, it would behoove me to not talk about them and maybe wear their gear. Ryan, upstate New York, Cardinal Ryan says, Hulk Hogan, Real American, was an outstanding docuseries. It was, but Ryan, there you have to be like me and say that there were a couple of instances where you blushed. Like Linda Hogan, there were things coming out of her mouth that I was like, I wasn't ready for that. It's a great show, you're right. And I don't have time today to get into the Jimmy Hart stories and the longtime P1s. We got all these new viewers. I'm like, guys, do you want to hear my stories again? Like the time we broadcast the show live from Hulk Hogan's Beach Bar in Tampa, Florida, and the manager of that place was Jimmy Hart. I just told it last week, but I was watching the show last night, and he had his hair teased straight up. Jimmy Hart, the mouth of the South. And when he came on my show, now that was a radio show, I was like, how is he going to get this headphones on over his teased hair? The mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. I'd never seen anybody do this before, and I've been in broadcasting for a minute. Jimmy Hart turned the headphones upside down and spoke into the mic like this. I'm like, I've never, bravo, dude. David number 2 in Winnipeg writes in on the Western Dodge text line, 902-518-3033, says, good morning, Rod. No need for a color commentator. You bring the color every day. How about that? Wayne in Victoria, BC writes it. He says, happy hump day, Rod and squad. I love the history of the CFL, and I have always enjoyed it. It's great that you're in touch with Travis Lulay. I don't know. He's just one of those guys that I don't know Travis Lulay. I didn't even have his number. But not only were we texting back and forth about 2011 back in the day, but he's sending me photos from it down the PCH. You know what that is? The Pacific Coast Highway. That's where he is on a family trip. Travis Lulay's taking photos and sending them to me. Keep them coming, Travis. Not while he was driving, but he's just that kind of guy, and it kind of warms my heart a little bit to know that he remembers me, and we had this little, But then I went back and searched on YouTube. That's when I realized, oh, my God, we've been doing this show a long time, because he was on this show twice, way back past life. And it was great. Let me finish. By the way, we're still on point 1. How about that? And I say scruffy wastes time. Vintage Sasko writes in 902-518-33. He says, hi, Uncle Rodney. I use the Bret Hart sound bites from the Hogan documentary on a daily basis. Gold, Jerry, gold. Signed, Bitter Sasko. Well, Bret Hart, he's not a fan of Hulk Hogan. Not a fan of Hulk Hogan. He doesn't hold it back. Just full disclosure, I'm 53 years of age. You think I let it rock now? Wait till I'm in my 60s like those guys. Because there's things that I want to say and don't. Bret Hart, he don't care. I believe the quote was Hulk Hogan, it rhymes with trucking schmashmole. Pretty much what he called Hulk Hogan in the show. And then afterwards, Hulk dies. Spoiler alert. Sorry, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it was like 3 months after that thing was produced, Hulk Hogan died. Hell of a show. Anyways, where I started this whole thing was that Adam Bighill, who was our guest coming up in hour 2, had 2 Hall of Fame careers in one. Hall of Fame career in BC, there ain't no doubt. 2-time Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, won a Grey Cup out there. Goes to the NFL, comes back, wins 2 Grey Cups in Winnipeg. Was getting his name on the wall there. Special guy. Wally, Hall of Fame career with the Calgary Stampeders, Hall of Fame career with the BC Lions. Roberto Luongo did it. Who else did it? Wayne Gretzky did it. Like there's Edmonton and then post-Edmonton. Let's roll LA, St. Louis, New York Rangers all into one. That's still 2 Hall of Fame careers with Wayne Gretzky, but what we're talking about here is very, very, very special people. You know, even Mark Trestman was in the NFL for 25 years before he came to the CFL. Now, he's not getting in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That is the most exclusive. Belichick can't get in. But he is going to the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. He's not in there yet, but that's 2 very distinguished careers in one lifetime. Who are some of the people that I haven't thought of yet? And as you're now realizing, baseball I follow when the Blue Jays are winning. But NFL, CFL, NHL are the ones that's my jam. Those are the ones that I know the best. Who are some guys from other leagues that would fit into that category of 2 Hall of Fame careers in one lifetime? It's pretty unreal when you think about it. Oh, we'll be right back.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Right. Welcome back. It's the RP Show. And the comments are humming. Disclaimer, we're 30 minutes into the show, and we are still on point one. The warm-up is brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel. They are the official travel partner of the RP Show and the BC Lions. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. One thing that I really love about CFL fans, and I don't know if this is as, I think it's a thing with NFL and NHL fans, but not as much. When we brought on the guests, the alum and the stars from other teams, if they maybe it wasn't your team, the fans love those interviews just as much. And I love that. And thank you for that. By the way, again, it's just me. We're rocking it here on the Game Plus YouTube channel, our own YouTube channel, and WQVZ Radio, your home for sports and sports talk in West Central Georgia and East Alabama. Every day we're on the air there, and I get mail from them. I don't acknowledge them enough, and I should. Thank you, Ryan O'Radio down there, the host of the Radio Penitentiary. But we're also talking about the Hulk Hogan documentary, and Jason in Red Deer writes in, he says, did you learn anything from the Hulk Hogan doc that you didn't already know? I hate when Netflix has 3 or 4 different docs all telling the same stories we already know. Well, it's a really good point by you, Jason. Like the Cowboys documentary that dropped last summer, there was nothing in there that I didn't already know as the guy that knows everything there is to know about the Dallas Cowboys, and also knew when Jerry was lying in the show. It's part of why I'm teetering on not cheering for them anymore. But on the Hogan thing, I learned a lot that I didn't know, frankly, and I think we should all I would hope you all learn from these. I do. Since I was a little kid, I've been reading autobiographies on all kinds of people, biographies and autobiographies. And the thing with the Hulk, what did I learn? That was a very sad life for the last several years of Hulk's life. And that's the one thing. Like, he was broke. He said he was bringing home 7-digit checks, and his wife was spending it faster than he could bring it home, and they were broke. And just how bitter their divorce ended up, and what is it worth? What is it worth? These wrestling guys that are performing 300 nights of the year out of 365, or at least they were back then, all do end. Nobody's talking to each other, and you're broke. That's kind of sad. And not to tell you about Santa Claus, but I've been around enough of the sports celebrities, and I'm young enough to be able to say, I'm not going to be like that. In my case, it's media people. Don't get me going on guys that are mid to late 60s and 70s that are broke after giving their heart and soul to a shitty trade of the media. And when they turn around and need something, nobody's there to help them. Nope, not going to happen here. So I just said, what are the stories on the NFL training camps? And I also said, who's had 2 great careers in one lifetime? Ken in Mississauga brings up a really good point. He says, Bo Jackson. Well, there's the stratosphere of the Patrick Waz, the Roberto Luongos, the Adam Bighills. I'll put him in that. And then there's another stratosphere, one over for the Deion Sanders and the Bo Jacksons that did it in multiple sports. Like, my God. But it's a great point by you. Scott in Vancouver says, I thought Cousins was borderline washed up. I mean, no. And we're going to be talking a lot of NFL here, just so you know. Get ready for it, everybody. From here on in, we do more CFL than anybody else. But I would be a complete donkey if I ignored the biggest sport on the planet. It ain't that hard to cover. The biggest league on the planet. So if you are following it, Kirk Cousins lost his job in Atlanta inexplicably. And you know how they did that. And they go and draft Michael Penix, and it's just interesting how the quarterbacks, the QB1s, get so upset when their heir apparent is drafted. Same thing happened this year with Matthew Stafford and the kid out of Alabama, Ty Simpson. In this year's draft, the Rams draft Matthew Stafford's heir apparent, and the head coach, Sean McVay's got to calm him down. Even McVay was actually mad too. But anyways, if you haven't figured out yet that you're only there for as long as you're useful to them, and then they'll... Aaron Rodgers is the big one for me. He gets drafted to replace Brett Favre. Brett gets mad, and then Aaron Rodgers throws a fit when Jordan Love gets drafted. What did you think was going to happen? So anyways, Kirk Cousins didn't throw a fit in Atlanta. He was winning games in Atlanta. They haven't really done diddly with Penix, yet Kirk Cousins was shown the door. Granted, he was paid well, but he bit his tongue, was classy about it, and now he's QB1 in Vegas. But he did nothing to lose his job in Atlanta. Jason in Red Deer says Jeff Garcia was great in the CFL and NFL. You know what? Really great point. And Jeff Garcia does not get his due. There's another Netflix series. As I said, if anybody wanted to, I don't have the ability, the knowledge, the energy, but if you did a 10-episode CFL Netflix series on all of these, like, what did I say? The decade of decadence I would love to see. The Saskatchewan Roughriders from 2005 to 2014 under Jim Hobson. It was unbelievable. I lived it. It's a movie. Jeff Garcia, boom. His career with Calgary, how that all happened, got bumped by Doug Flutie in the CFL, goes on to the NFL, does great things there. But let's just remember what I said was 2 Hall of Fame careers. Let's not get it twisted. He was not a Pro Football Hall of Famer, so let's not. Good is good, but it's not necessarily great. Adam Bighill was great in BC and Winnipeg. Wayne Gretzky was great in Edmonton and then post-Edmonton. Let's stay on point. Vancouver Eric writes in, says Jeff Garcia was great in both leagues, no doubt. And that's why I say Jeff Garcia doesn't get his due, certainly not in Canada, and sometimes I wonder if he gets it in America or not. On the Hulk Hogan documentary, Scott in Vancouver says you need to be very selective when it comes to women, especially if you are bringing home 7 digits. I think you could have just cut it off after the first part of your sentence. Need to be very selective when it comes to women. And then you bring in the money portion. Yeah, so, yeah, that was an ugly thing. That story, that's what I learned about Hulk. It's not all ripping off T-shirts and boating, it wasn't all that. There's a lot of pain and a lot of bad decisions. That's what I learned. Kirk in Toronto writes in and says, hey, Rod, Chad Kelly's x-rays on his neck were negative, so he's not expected to miss any time. Argos run about. See, thank you. That's what I wanted. Eric in Virginia wrote in and said, any Chad Kelly updates? I'm like, not from me. Am I supposed to sit here and tell you what's going on with the Green Bay Packers training camp and Chad Kelly's neck and this and that, and Macklin Celebrini signed a 5-year by 18 point? I can't. We can do this all together. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's what makes it great. Wilf is watching in Steinbach, Manitoba, writes in, says, 2 questions for Adam Bighill. Please remind me when he joins us an hour or 2 or I'll forget. Who was the hardest to tackle? Which stadium did he like the best and the worst? That's good, Wilf. Wayne in BC says, I've always liked Travis Lulay and will definitely be watching when he comes on the RP show. I'll tell you something, man. Players change post-career. I feel like the Lions probably would have given me Travis Lulay's number when he was playing for them too. I don't know. But yesterday when I'm like, yeah, Travis Lulay's digits, I don't have them. Here you go. Bing. And then I'm texting all day. I don't know Travis Lulay. I guess he knows I'm not a creep. Or I'm not going to blow up his phone. I don't know what he knows. But I will tell you a story. And I don't care. What's up for time here? I don't want to get cut off because this is a gutter. How are we doing on time, Producer Corey? Yeah. I got a Ray Elgard story about this when we come back that he won't mind me telling, just to give you a little idea how things roll current career, post-career. And we'll actually get into all the other stuff when we come back. 902-518-3033. If you're liking the show, you're watching on streaming, please go down and like it, share it. We don't ask for much. We don't make you pay. You see, Rogers and Amazon are...
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back. It's the RP Show, live from the Golden Ticket Sports Center. Yes, I'm wearing Las Vegas Raiders gear. Thank you, Billy, at the Ultimate Fan Zone. I'm going to tell you again, if you have the means, it's like Jersey City used to be. They're all hats now. It's not their fault. Or, you know, those places, lids. You go into Ultimate Fan Zone, they're going to have what you want. And at the very least, they'll get it. But I'm looking around going, oh, there was a Cowboys bunny hug. I'm like, there was an Oilers, like a sheer long sleeve. They had everything. Ultimate Fan Zone. Just take my word for it and thank me later. A lot of people make the trek from all across the prairies to see that place. This is a tourist mecca, by the way, but this is not a commercial for the city of Moose Jaw. Point one's NFL training camps. I'm going to talk more about that next hour. Point two, Canada's game of the week in the CFL. I guess, hang on, I had you all hanging on the Ray Elgard story. So, Ray, I was just coming into the Riders when Elgard was leaving, but at least we knew each other well enough. And I wasn't the voice of the team. I was just covering the team. And well enough that I, had his cell phone number, blah, blah, blah. Cell phones were just coming in. That's how old we are. And anyways, stayed in touch over the years. Great respect for each other. As you know, still, when I go to Vegas, we hang out. And he comes on this show. So he's a financial planner is what he does in Las Vegas. So years later, we had a couple players that went to the NFL from the Riders, and Ray asked me for their phone numbers. And I'm like, I'm not giving you their numbers. He's like, come on. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not going to stalk them. And I said, I know that. But I said, Ray, you wouldn't have wanted me to be giving out your number back in the day. This is different. I'm going to help them. I'm sure I ended up giving him their phone numbers. And I don't know if they ended it, but it's just, I don't know what it's like in your world, but in ours, it's, these days I almost wonder if it's as big a deal anymore, because I'm going, if somebody wants to get a hold of me, they're DMing me. And then you get to decide whether you want to answer it or not. It's pretty cool. WhatsApp is not a good way to get a hold of me. 902-518-3033 is the text line. The game of the week in Canada, Canada's game of the week. We've been doing it for years. We're the only ones that call it that, but that's okay. That's what makes us unique. I can go to our Instagram poll and you can tell me what it is. Or Jason in Red Deer, that's your job. What's the poll results on Canada's game of the week? Here are the games, by the way. Bear with. Wow, do I even need to name them? 80% on Instagram are voting for Sask at Edmonton on Saturday. Rough Riders at El Camos. 80%. It is the game of the week. We know that. 10% Calgary at Hamilton earlier in a rematch of the 1998 Grey Cup. 0% voting for Montreal at Ottawa. Lord love them. And 10% voting for BC at Winnipeg. I thought somebody might be interested in the Toilet Bowl, a game that both teams are calling must win, and it probably is must win for both teams. By the way, we've done the picks. We did them with Scruffy yesterday. We'll be doing them again with Kevin the Medium tomorrow, and I'll be posting them at rodpedersen.com. What's today? Probably tonight. They're brought to you by PumpJacks Steakhouse and Saloon, PumpJacks Cathedral, PumpJacks Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. So point two is just CFL overall. And what's the game of the week? Why even have a poll? It's not even close. Riders at El Camos. Scruffy had the hot take yesterday that this is where we'll find out when if the Elks wear big boy pants. We put that meme up for the Mad Greek Eatery on our Facebook page, and people are having a ball with that. People are like, we found out last week, Scruffy, but thanks for playing. Things really changed. They did, but they kind of didn't totally. On the social media thing because the guy that said that was Lee Harding. He's a good friend of mine. He's a writer for the Western Standard newspaper. Huge God guy. Thanks a lot, Scruffy, but you're late to the party on that one. Who needs open line when you've got mentions and comments on social media? Point three, Toronto pitcher Shane Bieber's start against the Washington Nationals was anything but a walk in the park. The former Cy Young Award winner issued walks to 6 of the 9 batters he faced before departing after 2/3 of an inning Tuesday night in the Blue Jays' 8-6 loss. Jays and Nats winding up their series at a matinee today. By the way, those picks are for our friends at PumpJacks Cathedral, PumpJacks Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. I'm going to be at PumpJacks at least once before I head back to Florida, hopefully twice. Point four. For the college football fans, I'll tell you something. And there's a lot of U.S. viewers watching. Point four is this. A reworked Senate bill designed to regulate college sports proposes to more than double the amount of money schools could share with players as part of a flurry of revisions designed to win the support of the Big Ten and Southeastern conferences. Among the key changes would be up to $25 million devoted to a retention pool that would allow schools to pay athletes already on their rosters to stay. That would be in the addition to the $21.3 million schools are allowed to spend this season. Some $5 million of the new money would be devoted to women's sports. Now, the big overarching question in all of this is, do you support college players being paid, period? That's number one. I think we would all say yes, but it's gotten way, way, way too crazy. So on average, $21.3 million is the payroll. That's for the entire athletic department. On average. Shoot, OSU a couple years ago when they won the Natty, they had a $25 million payroll for the football team alone. You're all hardcore sports people, so I assume you have an opinion on this. That's why you're watching this show. Oh, and I just popped up in my feed here my thought on the streaming deal with Amazon and Rogers, so hang on. And now there's a players' union, college football players' union formed at Stanford University. They're hoping to get every team in the ACC, Atlantic Coast Conference, onto that. And then they want to spread it across all the big FBS and all the FBS and FCS divisions. I'm like, guys, it's a little late for that. You're being paid way too much. You went from being not paid at all to being paid way too much. I don't think you need a union. You're getting overpaid. Who needs a union for that? But I guess my point is I posted the clip of DeBuck talking about Trinidad Chambliss being 27 years old, quarterbacking Ole Miss this year, and it went off like crazy. College football, just so you, in America, not anywhere close to this in Canada, of course, but it's like sticking your toe in the ocean and just getting sucked down in the riptide and just away you go. So I'm very, very hesitant to even dip my toe into the college football because the second I do, there ain't going to be no coming back. It's just so big and so immense, and I just wouldn't have enough time for the other leagues that I love that are the NHL, the CFL, and the NFL. So to point 5, I need your take on this, and trust me, we will roll this into hour 2 as well, but Amazon's Prime Video will exclusively broadcast Wednesday night NHL regular season games in Canada in English and French beginning this season as part of the new 12-year sub-licensing agreement with Rogers. So you understand what's happening here? Rogers bought all the rights in Canada, and then they're turning around and selling them off in pieces to Amazon, to TSN in some cases, to whatever streaming and other middling networks, because they're the kings now, want games. Rogers is the king of NHL broadcasting. Did you see it happening? I've been trying to tell you. The streaming service will also carry select Stanley Cup playoff series. Now listen up, because this is interesting, including 2 first-round series and 1 second-round matchup under this deal announced Tuesday. A Rogers spokesperson said the playoff allocation will follow a draft format. This actually got me real interested. Prime Video will receive the 4th and 5th selections among the 8 first-round series and the 3rd choice among the 4 second-round matchups. So this is how I envision it for all of us that have been in pools, especially Stanley Cup playoff pools. There's going to be a guy sitting in the chair or gal from Rogers, somebody from Prime, somebody from, let's just say CBC. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Netflix. I'm not sure. And they're going to have a draft. And they're going to pick which of the series they want to run. It's fascinating to me. Or Carrie. It's fascinating to me that this is what they're doing. But furthermore, Canadians are up in arms, and I don't blame you at all for being upset. If you don't already have Prime, you're not going to be watching the games. And this larger and larger and larger murmurs growing into a roar of the fans saying enough's enough. And what I think NHL and Rogers are gambling that you're just all bitching about it, but you're going to keep paying because you have to have it. And the fact is, if you're that big of a hardcore fan, you will pay. And what worries us with the CFL is, because they're doing the same thing, is there enough diehards? The people that are bitching, at the end of the day, you will pay. I'm going to pay for the CFL games. I will. And I pay for the NHL. But what I don't pay for in the States is MLB. I don't love it enough. Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, Rogers making lots of friends in this country. Right? And actually, producer Corey said in my ear here, he's like, my angst towards Rogers is growing and matching his toward Bell. And just so you know, Rogers employed me for 4 years at Sportsnet, and they were great to me, but it was just a different time. Nelson Millman was in charge of the radio division then. If anybody from Toronto knows that name, the guy treated me like a son. Keith Pelly was the president at Rogers for a while. Everybody loved him there. Now he's got an MLSE, and people are like, what happened to him? I don't know. I'm just glad I don't have to worry about it. And I had a Rogers cell phone for like 12 years up until this past spring, and I just now canceled it. Not out of protest, but why do I need 3 cell phones? Why do I need 3 cell phones? I finally canceled it. Never made one call on it in 12 years. Yeah. Virginia Eric. Can I call you Virginia Eric? Hang on. We'll be right back after this.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek and Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Really awesome show coming up for you. Welcome, everybody. It is the RP Show, Hour 1 here on Silver State Sports. across Nevada. Hour 2 for those watching on Game Plus streaming, the RP Show YouTube channel, podcast, or WQVZ Radio. So many people are writing me, where is that WQVZ? We are your home for sports and sports talk in West Central Georgia and Eastern Alabama. WQVZ 1700 AM radio. Yeah, I'm in a great mood for a couple. You like what I've done with the place? Went down to Ultimate Fan Zone, one of our longtime partners here on the RP Show. Billy never lets me down. Get an array. Your official, unofficial Las Vegas Raiders merchandise store. The Ultimate Fan. They had all kinds of Raiders. You want hats? I said, I don't wear hats, Billy. I have $30,000 invested in this dome. I don't need a hat, but what I need is a hoodie, and I got it. Am I switching allegiances from the Dallas Cowboys to the Las Vegas? Maybe. And that, by the way, is the opening point of the Quick Six Show Topics, brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel. You've been hearing us talk about this cruise for months. Adam Bighill is the headliner of it. NFL, CFL alum Adam Bighill is joining us next. I don't know from where. I'm guessing Vancouver, but I don't know. He is coming up in the next segment. Adam Bighill, some CFL greats, Willie Jefferson, Jake Seresner are going to be on that cruise. And you, right? You're going to want to get out of the cold. Don't sit there February 20th when that thing leaves the dock in the port of Fort Lauderdale, freezing your ass off, going, I should have gone. Book now. Contact Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. That is the email. Prices from $18.99, cruise only. So for those that don't know, Adam Bighill from Montesano, Washington, played at Central Washington. He had a Hall of Fame career with the BC Lions as a linebacker from 2011 to 2016. Went to the NFL with the New Orleans Saints. Came back to the CFL, but signed with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for the bag and went on to win 2 Grey Cups there. Adam Bighill had Hall of Fame careers in 2 stops. So that's been a fun discussion with the viewers and trying to keep it on point. I said, who else has had Hall of Fame careers? As a hockey guy that I am, it's very easy to point out those guys. Wayne Gretzky had a Hall of Fame career in Edmonton, where he won 4 Stanley Cups, and then had a Hall of Fame career in LA St. Louis Rangers after that, going to the Stanley Cup with the Kings. Roberto Luongo is the franchise leader in wins in both by a goalie with the Florida Panthers and Vancouver Canucks. Canada, Mississauga, Ontario brought up Bo Jackson. I'm like, well, that is a whole other, you're not wrong. But that's a bit of a question, different question. Guys are bringing up Jeff Garcia. Had a great, but he never did win a Grey Cup in the Canadian Football League. But he did do great things with San Francisco. He didn't win a Grey Cup, or did he? In 98, did he? Now I'm getting myself off track. Anyways, that's just the fun part of what we do. But point one, wasn't Dave Dickinson had a Hall of Fame career with the Calgary Stampeders, the pride of Great Falls, Montana, and then the BC Lions. I'm not saying it's necessarily rare. What I'm saying is it's very, very, very special players that do that. And Adam Bighill, good enough to grace us with his time coming up in the next segment. I can't wait. Okay. NFL training camps are officially open. So I've been asking the viewers, what's going on with your teams? As we're airing in Las Vegas on Silver State Sports, you all know this, but here's our chance to talk about it for you to see it for the first time. Raiders head coach Clint Kubiak announced Tuesday the 4-time Pro Bowl selection Kirk Cousins will be the starting quarterback over first overall pick Fernando Mendoza to begin training camp. Kubiak's decision comes as no surprise. Cousins, who signed in April, played the majority of the first-team reps during the offseason program and looked excellent, according to Kubiak. Meanwhile, Mendoza played with a second and third team along with Aiden O'Connell. So it's going to be a fun ride all year across the National Football League. Buckle up. We're going to be talking a lot of it. I just sitting here looking at how this Raiders hoodie fits in with our Golden Ticket Sports Center background, and I think we got a winner. But that's what's going on. We knew this was going to happen. Mike Davis told us months ago the Raiders were going to sign Cousins. Then they did. We all knew they were going to sign Mendoza. Mike, the head coach and GM of the Vegas Nighthawks, said that Mendoza ain't even going to play. Here's your evidence that he was right. So the pressure, which, by the way, Kirk Cousins he's fine when it comes to pressure. 4-time Pro Bowler, playing in Washington, playing in Minnesota, playing in Atlanta, unceremoniously dumped in Atlanta, who is actually ceremoniously dumped? When you get dumped, it's never with a ceremony. He had a bad ending with Atlanta. walks into Vegas, and there's a lot of pressure on the guy. He's okay with it. Now, speaking of pressure, the Dallas Cowboys will always, that Navy will always be in my blood. That's not a fact. That is a fact. But when I talked with Moose the other day on this show, I said, how are you getting your NFL training camp coverage? He said Twitter, and I said, well, that's a thing. A lot of people watching us here at Silver State Sports for NFL coverage and every other league. But I went to DallasCowboys.com for the propaganda. Let's just say it the way it is, the way the teams are with their coverage. But whatever. They have the best access. Their writers are elite. Nobody can argue that. And just what's going on in Dallas, because you all asked. You didn't, but I'm going to say it anyways. Jerry. But the first thing you see at the table is Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, Brian Schottenhammer, and everybody's looking at Jerry because he's talking. Okay, number one, nothing's changed. Number two, there's no contract holdouts like C.D. Lamb a couple years ago, Micah Parsons, the fallout of that trade. There's no drama. They called it a quiet offseason in Dallas. That is a change. We'll see how it goes. It was funny when Murph was on here yesterday, and I said, growing up in New York, who did you cheer for in the NFL? He goes, well, I won a lot of bets with Dallas because my dad was a Giants fan, and I immediately thought of my buddy Chris from the Bronx. He's a Giants fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. We bet every game, and every game he's buying me chicken. I'll still be picking the Cowboys when they play the Giants. I don't know. Like week 1, Dolphins at the Raiders? I don't know. But I'm asking, I'll probably go with the Raiders, but we got some time to think about that. 902-518-3033. I'm just checking the comments here. So we're streaming. When those all sports radio stations went off the air in Western Canada, our podcast downloads and numbers tripled. It can't be a coincidence. So I just asked the people, where are you watching from? Say some nice things. The Bleed Oil Blue podcast in Edmonton writes in and says, great show. Thank you. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, will you do the show from the cruise, Rod? Bro, I don't even know if I'm going to be on the cruise, so I can't tell you. I don't know. Well, for those that are, when I said who's had 2 Hall of Fame careers, I mean, I'm kind of thinking in the same league, but it doesn't have to be. Vancouver Eric writes in and says, Mervyn Fernandez, a legendary BC Lion and Oakland Raider. I'll tell you, the Raider alumni is, well, every alumni is elite, but the Raiders is pretty cool. Oh, Ken, you want to get fancy, eh? He says, Bobby Hull, if we want to count the WHA. I can finally say I'm not old enough for any WHA discussion, and I'm proud to say that. But anyways, I was doing an event with Marcus Allen, and he told a story of the Super Bowl. What was the Super Bowl the Raiders were 83 in L.A.? Now, as I get older, I'm starting to realize why I do get along with the players, current and past, because our stories match in a lot of ways. Mervyn, like, for instance, the stories of guys going to a stadium and gals to play or broadcast and not being allowed to get into the stadium because they didn't have the proper pass. Now, those stories are legendary. We could write a book on those. Mervyn Fernandez, Super Bowl, I want to say 83. Pulls up in a rental car, doesn't have a pass. They're not going to let him in. Marcus Allen. They're like, sorry, sir, you're not going past here if you don't. I'm playing in the Super Bowl. He jumped out of the car, left the car there. Marcus goes, as far as I know, the car's still there. Was it Super Bowl 18 versus the Redskins? Thank you. Yeah, Jason, you bring up a really... The Warren Moon is like... He's the holy grail of that conversation of two Hall of Fame careers in one lifetime. 5 consecutive Canadian Football League championships with the Edmonton Eskimos, and then a Pro Football Hall of Fame career in the NFL. Warren Moon is all that. So my point is, I'm saying Adam Bighill had Hall of Fame careers in 2 stops. He's like Wally. Hall of Fame career. If you just looked at his years with BC from 2011 to 2016, you're putting him in the Hall of Fame. And then he goes to the NFL, And if he's watching, I want to talk to you about that, Biggie. But then he goes to Winnipeg and has a Hall of Fame career there. Special, special, special people. Joe Lazito writes in. Thank you, Joe. Just on time. He says, guessing Mendoza starts for the Raiders in Week 11 after going 2-8 in the first 10. Well, here is also how Mike Davis thinks like a coach. They're not looking at Week 11. They're not planning to fail. They're expecting everything's going to go right. They don't even allow themselves to think about failure, and that's how sports and life mimic each other if you do it right. They want Cousins to take every snap all year. Now, it's not going to happen, but that's why when you kind of sit back and go, did they have a plan? They didn't plan to fail. That's when things go wrong. Look at the BC Lions right now. They didn't plan to be starting their third-string quarterback in Week 9. They didn't plan to be cajoling Lorenzo Molden IV out of retirement. Like, they don't plan to fail. John Riggins, yes. Thank you, Redskins greats. 902-518-30. I'm on the first damn point of the Quick Six show topics here today. Oh. Yeah. Mandy writes in. She says, hi, RP from Edmonton. That bunny hug looks great. Thank you. I've never heard it. He's been so positive. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. He passed out, was found unconscious by his family on Friday. He's saying all this. This isn't secrets. He's saying it in the media. He's on experimentary medication with his cancer. He's hospitalized, and his teeth. He's posting it to social media. His teeth got knocked out. It's not good. Thank you, Mandy. And I guess what I would say is if you can contribute to the GoFundMe for Ron, his medical bills are into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not the NFL or NHL. I can't even really necessarily get upset at the NHL Alumni Association. I talked to them, and they said Ron's aged out of eligibility for that, so we got to rely on the fans. Yes, them observing 111. Thank you, guys, the live audience. 902-518-3033. That is the text line. The poll question, just for fun, because we're in hour 2 where we don't do a lot of CFL talk, but there is a lot of CFL fans watching. We do the poll every Wednesday for EMJ Marketing, Elite Speakers Bureau. What's the game of the week? And what's Canada's game of the week in the Canadian Football League? It's not even a contest. The last game of Week 9, 80% of the vote, winning it, the Saskatchewan Roughriders at Edmonton. For the betting crowd, the Elkamos are favored by 1.5. The week opens on Thursday with the BC Lions at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The Bombers are favored by 7.5. I feel that's more generous than it needs to be, but they didn't ask. Friday night, Montreal at Ottawa. I mean, Montreal's only favored by 6.5. Ottawa hasn't won a game yet. I see my guy Henry Burris is going back for some sort of legend celebration they're having in Ottawa. That looks like a lot of fun. Calgary Stampeders at the Hamilton Tiger Cats in a rematch of the 1998 Grey Cup and 1999. Calgary is favored by 5.5. And then, as I say, Sask at Edmonton. The Elks favored by 1.5. Point 3 for the baseball fans. Toronto pitcher Shane Bieber's start against the Washington Nationals was anything but a walk in the park. The former Cy Young Award winner issued walks to 6 of the first 9 batters he faced. He's like the only 11th pitcher in MLB history to do that. Before departing after 2/3 of the first inning in the Blue Jays' 8-6 loss. They're wrapping it up in a matinee today. Vladdy left in the 4th inning due to a right hamstring tightness. I'm like, I also have right hamstring. Can I leave? Don't let me forget. Point 4. I'm asking the viewers this, but also I want to ask Adam Bighill as an NCAA grad, collegiate football grad. A reworked Senate bill designed to regulate college sports proposes to more than double the amount of money schools could share with players as part of a flurry of revisions designed to win the support of the Big Ten and SEC. Among the key changes would be up to $25 million devoted to a retention pool that would allow schools to pay athletes already on their rosters to stay. I mean, this is insane. This is insane. That would be in addition to the $21.3 million the schools are allowed to spend this season. So the point is, you do all this work to recruit the kids. They're making, in some cases, millions of dollars. Even the chump change at 18 to go to college and be paid $3,000 US a month. I'd take it. I'd take it now. There's guys making millions. They've created a pool of millions to keep players from being poached by other schools, entering the portal and leaving. Adam Bighill coming up right after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back. It's the RP Show. Time for the guest segment brought to you by Prairie Panels. Are you building a shop, barn, rink, or commercial space? Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels. Visit prairiepanels.ca. Okay, I'm excited. I'm going to try and not be fanboy, but we do have a living legend here, Adam Bighill. I know you didn't see us what we were saying earlier, Biggie. I said you had 2 Hall of Fame careers, BC Lions 2011 to 2016, the NFL stop, and then another Hall of Fame career in Winnipeg 2018 to 2024. And now this. Like, there's a lot of people want to talk to you. They got a lot of questions. More than anything, they want to know, how are you doing, Biggie? And where are you hanging your hat these days?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Yeah, I've been building a business in the financial services sector, wealth management, for the last 7 years. So transitioning nicely here in retirement and spending a lot of time coaching my kids and coaching my family, with my family. So I'm being time with my family. So couldn't be happier, honestly, but still staying connected to the CFL, still part of the CFL PA as the treasurer on the executive board, watching lots of football, taking the kids to all the games. So not far.
Good. Don't go far. And I know you won't. But we have a lot to get into with you in 20 minutes. But I guess, number one, you're freshly retired. Has it hit you yet, what you accomplished in the Canadian Football League? For real, has it?
I don't think it's really hit me yet. I think it'll take some time. You know, it feels like 15 years of playing pro football is just in a blink of an eye. And all the training camps and the time to get to here, it's just flown by. So I think eventually it'll hit me, probably as you kind of watch some of the other, guys in the league start to retire eventually, guys that, came in after me or before me or what have you. So it'll take a little time yet.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was talking to your old buddy Travis Lulay yesterday, and he's going to be coming on here shortly, and we were reliving 2011. And by the way, I want to thank Neil Chark from Uniglobe Carefree Travel. He's got you going on that cruise. He lined up this interview today with you, Adam, so thanks for doing that, and thank you, Neil, for lining up this interview. But 2011, you're a rookie. Lions start 0-5, calamity, right? And my good friends Arlen Bruce and Tad Gordigay, they think they saved the season, and maybe they did, and you guys rally and win the Grey Cup in 2011. You want to talk about a blur? I mean, that's lore. That 2011 season is lore in CFL history. What's your recollection of it?
Honestly, I came in and I was like, what did I get myself into? I've never been on a team that lost 5 games in the season ever, and here we are 0-5. I was like, this is terrible. There was a couple things that turned it around. We were close. We were just maybe a couple pieces away. I mean, getting Arlen and Tad and a few other guys was pretty critical for us to kind of start getting things shored up. And we started playing like the team that we could. And I had a major special teams role that year. And it was unbelievable. The run we went on, the amount of confidence we had going into every single game, where it was like, we knew we were going to win. The question was by how much. And, the guys we had on offense were just that explosive, and the game plans were just that effective. So it was a ton of fun.
And you ended up destroying Winnipeg in the Grey Cup. I was there. It was a double-digit victory. But the thing is, I got so many friends with the Lions from then and now, and they're like, Rod, it wasn't just Tad and Arlen. And I'm like, well, fair, but it looked like it. What flipped the switch for you guys as that season went along?
Honestly, it was just becoming the team that we were destined to be. I mean, we had a lot of great veteran leadership, with G. Roy and the guys, and it was just really a matter of like putting it together. I mean, we were just, all it takes is a couple just, misfires a game to lose games, a couple mistakes, and we stopped making those mistakes and started doing what you're supposed to do, and honestly, that's really all it took. We're just playing at a high level.
Fans have a lot of questions. I'm not going to hog up all your time. I'll get to their questions in a second. But you went down to New Orleans and the NFL, and here's the as a CFL guy, we were all rooting for you, all following it as CFL fans. What was going on in New Orleans when you were there?
When it was going on, I had, when I signed, I knew they were pretty short at linebacker in terms of talent and guys. After I'd signed, they signed a couple guys in free agency, AJ Klein and Manti Te'o. They drafted a third-round linebacker in Alex Anzalone, which made it, all of those transactions after I signed made it tough for me to be able to see the field based on commitments they'd made with dollar value. I mean, the NFL is a different animal. it's not always about production at all. It's actually a lot more about other things, especially dollars and cents, draft picks, all these kinds of things, signing bonuses. And I didn't have a lot of those things behind me. So, I went down there and made a lot of noise, in my eyes, definitely one of the best linebackers on the team. But just didn't get the opportunity. And everywhere I've ever been in my life, you give me opportunity, I take advantage of it and get rewarded. And the NFL was kind of the first time where that didn't really happen, in terms of not really getting what you feel like you deserve based on not my own opinion, but production. I mean, you can't argue with the production that I had and things I've done. So from that standpoint, I had a lot of fun. It was stressful. It was frustrating at times. But overall, got to go play in the league that I wanted to play in since I was a kid, and had some success doing it. So overall it was a good experience, but I was happy to come back to the CFL right after.
NFL CFL alum Adam Bighill is with us. So take me back to 2018 and the decision to go to Winnipeg, because then you erect a Hall of Fame career there and win 2 championships. Talk about the process to sign there, because you were a free agent. You could have gone wherever you wanted, and that was life-changing for you.
Yeah, no, I didn't fully realize what I was stepping into in Winnipeg, even though I knew it was going to be a good situation. The cards just kept falling in the right direction. And, I had a few opportunities to go to other teams across the league. Winnipeg made the most sense. Guys I'd formerly played with, Andrew Harris and so forth, Craig Rowe, it made a lot of sense. My relationship with, Coach O'Shea, going back from when he was coaching in Toronto, and a lot of mutual respect from playing against each other for those years. And, super, super happy that it's where I landed, because, 2018, we were a couple plays short from winning a Grey Cup, or going to a Grey Cup. 2019 and 2021, obviously we were back-to-back and 5 straight, so a lot of success there. And, it's something that, I'll remember forever, because that journey in Winnipeg was amazing.
Well, then the footnote is the 2025 season in Calgary. Great city, great football organization. Would you do it again? Would you go back for a season like you did?
Yeah, I enjoyed my time in Calgary. I really respect Coach Dickinson, and I've known him for a long time, since being in the CFL, and it was great to be able to play for him and be a part of the Stampede organization for that year, and being able to kind of come back into the league after my knee injury and say that being hurt wasn't going to be the reason why I retired. I could retire on my own terms when I want to, and so happy to be able to do that. And Calgary, we had a good team, and once again, just a couple plays short. Which is unfortunate, but that's the reality of this game. It only takes a couple mistakes.
That's football. By the way, I interrupt this to say that Adam Bighill is a financial services provider, now financial advisor. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, I'd let Adam manage my wealth if I had any. Are you taking new clients? How can they get a hold of you? I'm assuming you are.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We are taking new clients. Generally we're working with households and families of, $1 million plus in investable assets. Doesn't mean that's the only criteria. If people have a good amount of wealth, expected to have more wealth, or saving lots of money at a rapid pace, those are kind of clients that we're kind of working with. But you can find me by social media, reaching out to me, or Googling my name online. You'll see our website, Pavich Bighill Private Wealth. But yeah, no, it's been great, because really working with a lot of my clients are football fans, and it's just great alignment in terms of the way we see things. And I try to break things down in a very simple, easy way to understand, and use some football terms from time to time. And overall, for me, people that have supported me as a football player, and then as a investment advisor now, has been great alignment for me to kind of be able to give back to them as well. So I really do enjoy that.
Okay, good. I wanted to get that in there. Scott in Vancouver said he had a bunch of questions for you. I said, you can have one. He says, Adam, what would you say is the biggest difference between the NFL and CFL?
The biggest difference, I would say, in general, is every NFL team is going to have like 5 or 6 absolute freak athletes and size guys that just you can't find in the CFL. In general, guys would be a little bit bigger, but like I said, those freaks of nature that they don't really exist in the CFL. They're really rare anyway. A guy comes to the CFL, it's likely because of discipline or some sort of thing that NFL has kind of discarded them. So you see those guys much more frequently in the NFL. Say a guy like Cam Jordan, a guy I played with in New Orleans, is a Hall of Famer, surely, well over, I think he's over 120 sacks now. A guy that can take over the game when he wants to. 6'4.5", 285, run like a deer, and super strong, super fast, super talented. I mean, those guys just don't exist here in the CFL game. But I will say this, to me, the NFL game is an easier game. I went down there, and it was extremely easy for me to play that game, especially after playing the CFL. There's so many things you have to see in the CFL game and react to. So much more responsibility. It happens so much faster. You need to see so much more in the NFL. It's like they line up, they hardly motion, they hardly shift. It's really straightforward, and you can process and play super fast. The only major difference, I'd say, once again, is more run game. You got to play more physical downhill style of football. And if anyone knows me, I love to do that on top of all the other things I can do really well. So the NFL game was really easy for me. And, I absolutely, loved experiencing how the CFL had made me that much better of a football player, going back to the NFL style.
Great answer.
So
great question. Yeah, thank you, Scott.
Question.
Yeah. Wilf in Steinbach, Manitoba says 2 questions for Adam. Who was the hardest to tackle, and which stadiums did you like the best and the worst?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we played overseas in London and Wembley. I thought that was a really cool experience. We got to go to Green Bay, got to experience all the history there at Green Bay. Worst stadium, I don't know. I mean, honestly, probably, Buffalo Bills Stadium was really nothing really too special, to be honest. In Buffalo. So they're getting a new stadium, which will be great for them. But, playing in a lot of great stadiums, that's for sure.
And it said, he says, who is the toughest guy in the CFL to tackle?
Oh, CFL or NFL? CFL.
I don't think he didn't distinguish.
He didn't
so you just tell me.
Yeah, no, I think of some guys over the years that are the toughest guys to tackle. Guys like Jerome Messam. Just big guys that run with force and are fast. Those guys are the hardest to tackle. White running back who was in Edmonton. Really good running back. He was hard to tackle because he can run with power and he's got good moves, spin, stiff arms. Guys that are more than just speed are the hardest to tackle. Size and guys that can kind of do it all.
Did you play with Messam at all and be like that dude?
I did. I played with Messam in BC. Yeah.
6'4" train. Oh my God.
Yeah. One of those kind of freaks I was kind of talking about, similar to what a Brandon Jacobs would be in the NFL. Same body style, same body type, 6'3.5", 6'4", 250.
Yeah, I like Mess. David, number 1 in Winnipeg, because we have 3 from Winnipeg named David that watch this show. David, number 1, writes in. He says, Biggie, I hope you, Christina, and the kids are enjoying your summer, especially today at plus 35 Celsius, other than family time. Do you have any post-football things going on to keep you busy?
Yeah, obviously we talked about it already, managing money. I just got my portfolio manager's license, which is one of the top licenses you can get here in Canada in regards to managing money. So that's a pretty big distinction and it's something that I'm working on building my business. Beyond that, I'm doing lots of coaching. I'm coaching amateur football. Recruit Ready here in the city is a program. We take the best of the best in Winnipeg and we go compete down south in 7-on-7 tournaments. Coaching flag for all my kids, coaching tackle as we speak. It'll be a hot one tonight. So no shortage of things that keep me busy on top of being on a few different charities and different boards.
Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, Big E is always number 44 in this market, half of team 100. That's from Vancouver, Eric. Talk for a second, if you don't mind, about the flag football thing. You see Paul LaPolice is the head coach of Team Canada. It's going to be in the Olympics. What do you think is the ceiling or the sky for flag football on this continent?
Honestly, it's going higher. It's a similar game, but it's a unique game all to itself, which allows certain guys and kids that are not necessarily great tackle players or kids that want to play tackle because of physicality. They can now still play the game at a high level on the flag side, which I think is really, really cool. And, the popularity of flag's only rising. It's going to keep going up and up and up. So I think it's really exciting. I've been really enjoying coaching flag and the uniqueness to it. I've talked with Paul on kind of what he's doing, super excited about what Canada's putting forward here in terms of competitiveness and the process that Paul is putting forward. You look at what Canada has done in the NFL flag tournament just recently. Multiple divisions won the international competition in NFL flag. I took my son's team to Regina, 12U NFL flag. We won the NFL flag regional in Regina. We went to Ottawa. We lost against Flight School, who ended up winning that tournament, which was the same Flight School program that won the international tournament. We lost that team by 2 points. That ended up winning the Ottawa National Championship. So good to know that we're competing at a high level with some of the best in Canada.
Well, we only got a couple minutes left, Biggie, but I got to get this out about a minute and a half maybe. But you were so physical. What do you say to the guys that say, flag, the tackle guys that just dismiss it?
It's a unique game all to itself. Like, you have to respect the talent that comes from the flag side. It's a different thought process, different plays, different scheme. And if you appreciate the X's and O's and strategy of football, then you have to appreciate the same approach to flag, because there's a uniqueness to it that should be respected. And when you get down to it, it's very, very competitive, very low margin of error, and extreme amounts of talent that have to be played to be able to be successful. So, it's going to keep growing. Keep it on your radar because it's going to get bigger.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was the Olympics seemed like a real long ways away. But Lapwell probably thinks probably feels like it's going to be here right away, but it's still 2 summers away. So, yeah, that's going to be a very hotly contested gold medal on the line in flag football between Canada, USA, and the other countries. Well, Adam, I think that's about how much we got for time here, producer Corey, before we got to run? How long? Okay, a quick Grey Cup prediction. You want to make a quick Grey Cup prediction, Adam, before we let you go? You're following it, obviously.
Yeah, a quick Grey Cup prediction. Edmonton's playing absolutely lights out right now. I think it'd be pretty cool to see an organization that had been counted out for the last few years be able to.
Oh, sorry. That's why I asked. My bad, Adam, but thank you so much for the time. He's got Edmonton in there. We'll be right back.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers, Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. That was awesome. Thank you, Adam Bighill and our good friend Neil Chark at Uniglobe Carefree Travel for lining that up. I never, got to the talk of the cruise, but I guess best to leave him hanging, right? February 20th, that cruise of CFL Stars heads out of the port of Fort Lauderdale. $18.99. Prices starting at cruise only. Contact Neil at Uniglobe Carefree Travel to secure your spot. Here is the sports update. Draymond Green has agreed to a one-year, $27.7 million contract with the Golden State Warriors after previously declining his player option of the same value to give the team the financial flexibility to pursue LeBron James this offseason. 28 years after helping France win the 1998 World Cup as a player, Zinedine Zidane has been named the new head coach of the national team, replacing Didier Deschamps. Aaron Rodgers confirmed that 2026 will be his final NFL season. Eagles DN Jalen Carter, 4 years, $152 million, and Browns corner Denzel Ward, 2 years, $62.2 million. Became the highest paid players at their positions on Tuesday in the NFL. And Panthers great Luke Kuechly will be Netflix's top analyst for 2026. How about that? Live Golf is reportedly set to cancel its season-ending $40 million team championship in Michigan next month amid its search for outside investment after the Saudi PIF pulls funding post-2026. And how about this? They just snuck this into the bottom of the sports update at Yahoo. University of North Carolina's football team is reportedly being investigated by the College Sports Commission, the entity that handles compliance and enforcement of NCAA and NIL rules. The program has also placed general manager Mike Lombardi on paid leave following an HR complaint. To quote Fred Flintstone, "Ew, boy." Belichick's in trouble with the Tar Heels. Monkey business going on with NCAA and NIL. Who saw that coming? But I'll say this. If you're going to cheat in sports or football, at least win. What's the most amount of wins they've had since Belichick's been there? 7? Yeah. The sports update is brought to you by the Ultimate Fan Zone. Raiders, Riders, Blue Jays, NFL, NHL, you name it, they got it. If you want it, they got it. If they don't have it, you don't need it. Rep your team loud and proud with the Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. That used to be the tagline of PV Mart, which is like Canada's tractor supply company, but they're out of business now, so I guess we can take it. If you need it, we got it. If we don't got it, you don't need it. Ultimate Fan Zone. Okay, so we got the sports update out of the way. 902-518-3033. Okay, now the fun stuff. Hearing from you people. Rich in Edmonton writes in. He says, it's over, Liv. Reminds me of the last days of the Las Vegas posse. You got me on that one. I don't remember those last days, and I was working in the league. They all kind of went under at the same time, didn't they? Good memory by you. Oh, hey, Eric in Virginia. Virginia Eric. He says that he's okay with us calling him that. He says, Chapel Bill ain't doing so hot right now. 4-8 last year. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so last year, 4-8. What was he the year before? 6 or 7 wins the year before. That's my point. If you're going to screw around in the NIL and break the rules, at least win. You're not even cheating right. At least in the NFL, they won. Now the guys are all piling on, which is okay. By me. Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, Belichick's post-Patriots reputation is taking a beating. You know what? That's his fault. He should have just ridden off into the sunset like Saban. He was doing okay on television. Everybody had to get the hot takes from Belichick. His clips were going by, but no, he had to go back and coach. To prove what? Overtime coming up right after this.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. I'll tell you what, it's going to be a fun post-show day, and I'll tell you why in a second. But right now, I'm telling you that this is Overtime, brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Watch for details of a live show coming up at Overtime Hockey Lanes in late August. I know, Jeff, the Stamps fan, you won't be there, even though you always promised to be. But now's the time to be working on your shooting, kids. Baseball has batting cages. Golf has driving ranges, a million of them. Why wouldn't they not have shooting lanes? Well, they do for hockey. At Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. $99, unlimited monthly memberships, unlimited game time. And if you book online, you'll be entered for a free membership. OvertimeHL.ca. Check them out. Get the kids out of the house. Hey. Whoa. Utah, Eric, you're right. Our Utah Darren, I had to look this up. You said you thought that Belichick was only there for 1 year. Didn't it feel like 10? And there's a little story behind that. He won't really, I hope he doesn't mind me telling him this. Telling this story. I feel like it was 3 years ago. I guess it was 2 years ago. I was pulling out of South Beach. I had a meeting down there. I'm about to drive home. My phone goes off. It's DeBuck. And I pull over. He goes, call me. I said, I'm just leaving South Beach and driving home. I'm going to be in the car for an hour in my Jeep. It's loud. He goes, you're going to want to call me. So I pull over. He goes, Belichick's going to North Carolina. He's taking Jones with him. I'm like, what? And I feel like Chris Jones put in the full 2 years. Maybe he did put in the full 2 years on his 2-year contract, Jones. No, but they've only been there 1 year. So Jones pulled the pin after 1 year, and he's now at the University of Louisiana Monroe as the DB's coach. Paul writes in and says, coach has got to coach. Yeah, I get it. I'll be 80 and on the air. I get it. But I don't expect it's going to end badly like this thing. I'm not going to be embarrassing myself and breaking the rules, and now the school is under disrepute. Trust me, as I've learned, the institutions don't like this kind of publicity. Jeff, a Stamps fan, says because his girlfriend needed something. Okay, well, there's a theme here today. Anyways, when I say this is going to be a fun a footnote on the Las Vegas Posse, because I don't remember how that ended. The U.S. expansion. I mean, I'd look forward, not back. That's the tough part of being in sports. Everybody's looking back all the time. And, I mean, I kind of have to. That interview with Adam Bighill was great. He's got a great history. But overall, I don't spend a lot of time looking back. I don't remember how the Las Vegas Posse last days were. So Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, I recall the Posse having to change the remainder of their home games to away games. I went to one of their home games at Commonwealth. But you know what? That kind of stuff's still going on. The Argos did it 3 times this year, played home games on the road. I get what I'm just saying. It happens. So I'm going to do I said the Bleed Oil Blue podcast. Where is this dude? This chucklehead. I say that affectionately. Bleed Oil Blue. Yeah, that's the podcast. I'm going on their show this afternoon. And he wrote me today. He's like, hey, Rod, I can't wait for their interview. He says, how many years have you been on the air? 40 or 50? Bro, 38, but not 50. He says, I know I wrote to you 20 years ago when I was at Nate Radio School in Edmonton, and you answered my email. First sportscaster ever to write me back. I never forgot that, by the way. Signed, Raphael. So then he, not that you care, but he wrote back. He's like, wow, Oilers fan and Riders fan your whole life? Sure, as far as you know. Should be a fun interview. It's going to be a great interview. I'll update him on some things as I sit here on Las Vegas television wearing a Raiders top. Things have changed a little. Utah Darren, who was surprised that Chapel Bill would bend the rules? And well, that's a topic for another time, which would be a fun topic. Why is Belichick not in the Hall of Fame? Why did he not get voted in? Is it because of the cheating scandals at New England, or is it because he was rude to a jerk to the media? Or both. Maybe it's both. Because I'm kind of fiddling with this whole end justifies the mean mentality in business, in sport. Doesn't matter how you win as long as you win. Really? Because now Belichick is dealing with significant fallout of the way he ran his teams. And I can tell you there's a lot of guys that ran their teams straight up. It burns their ass every single day. I played by the rules. How come he's getting this? They're not wrong. But, yeah, they say what goes around comes around, and the longer it takes to come around, the bigger it hits you in the face when it does. I think Bill's getting that. Vancouver Eric says, as a Lions fan, I have to look forward. Virginia Eric says, both, in my opinion. He wasn't friendly with the right people. Yeah, well, yeah. Okay, look at you guys. Y'all got all the great NFL takes. Brent in the Bridge City writes that he says perhaps Robert Kraft has something to do with that, Rod. Kraft's going in the Hall of Fame and Bill ain't. You don't want to piss off the owners, and that's the lesson for the day. If you take one thing from today's show, don't piss off the owners. Don't lie to your boss. Do what you're told. Some people have a problem with it. I used to. I don't anymore. Tomorrow, Kevin the Medium's going to be with us in hour 1. That'll be big fun. We'll go through the CFL picks with him, talk about all these things. Wayne in BC says, I do love that Raiders hoodie you're wearing, Rod. Well, that's the second time you said that, Wayne. So you got to get down to Ultimate Fan Zone. See y'all tomorrow, everybody, here on the RP Show.
That.